From KCRG TV 9, this is First Alert Weather Now.
Good evening and welcome to First Alert Weather Now on a pretty snowy Thursday, at least for some of us. I'm meteorologist Thompson.
I'm meteorologist Rickman.
You saw a little bit of the snow out there earlier today. We all did, driving in and into the station.
Yes, a little bit of slipping and sliding on the roads by myself, and I'm sure other drivers as well. But that snow did create some travel impacts, and we're going to continue to see those slippery roads tonight in those places that saw snow fall today.
Indeed. We're going to break down exactly what we saw and a little explanation about what a snow squall is as that sort of got into our lexicon again for the day. And a look ahead at some more snow that may be affecting especially the broader Midwest as we look toward the weekend. Forecast for fun is there as well as your grower's guide. A lot to get to. So let's get to what you need to know as you're stepping outside this evening. Conditions turning better but colder. We have seen skies clear out in a good portion of the area, and that will lead to temperatures falling, but no new snow to fall, and so road conditions should continue to get better. Now that downward trend in temperatures continues in the 9-day forecast. It's not just tonight where we're going to see that first step. There's another step later on too, which we'll show you. And that weekend system, really the top of mind now that this one is out of our way, as we'll be tracking it getting closer. Pinpoint Doppler radar this hour shows nothing to worry about across eastern Iowa. Those areas of white in central Iowa are actually wind farms being picked up by the radar, but no new precipitation on the way. See, plows are still out and about, taking care of things along Highway 1 in Solon. City streets in Solon also looking in pretty good shape at this point, but a new coating of snow on the ground, really one of the first substantial ones for some of us of the year. 20s are pretty common, though Cedar Rapids down to 18 degrees at this hour. Winds out of the west and northwest between about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Quick look at your road conditions involves those still being partly covered in Johnson County in particular, though that sort of live view from Solon shows that things are continuing to get better. Over the course of the evening, we'll continue to get colder. Low teens by the time you wake up tomorrow morning at best, with single-digit lows likely in the north. We do have that snow coming potentially in the weekend, which we'll get to in just a moment. But before then, there's some stuff going on around eastern Iowa, and meteorologist Rickman has your forecast for fun.
And there's always stuff to do in eastern Iowa, no matter what time of year, whether it's indoors or outdoors. So as we get into your forecast for fun for today, we are going to be watching for that snow that has had a little bit of an impact on us, both on roadways and on grassy surfaces as well. If you're looking at doing some sledding tomorrow, Saturday or Sunday, we do have fresh snow. It's going to be cold, so it won't really be going anywhere. So feel free to get outside, get that toboggan, and hit the slopes if you would like to. Now, we are going to be also seeing cold conditions. If you're not much of a sledder, if you're more of a walker, walking forecast, make sure that you bundle up. We're sunny on Friday, so that'll offset the cold air a little bit. We're going to be a little breezy though. Northwest winds at 15 to 25. As we get into Saturday, we do see clouds building. Chance for some snow on Sunday. That's primarily our southern areas as a winter storm passes to our south. Corey will have more on that in just a little bit. If you're going to look for some gnomes, there will be a gnome hunt on some of the Wickiup Hill Learning Center trails. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, again, make sure you bundle up as that is an outdoor activity, but still a great chance to go outside, have some fun with the kiddos looking for gnomes. And hashtag not just February $1 days at the African American Museum of Iowa. It is in Cedar Rapids. The first Saturday of every month, they have $1 admission, coffee and conversations from 8:30 to 10 a.m. That is what we have going on today and things you can look forward to in your forecast for fun.
Today was fun for snow lovers around eastern Iowa, though not as fun in the morning hours around central Iowa. You may have noticed earlier today we had that alert in the corner of the screen for a snow squall warning that included parts of Marshall County. That went until 9:30 this morning, and that's when a band of heavier snow was moving through the area. Now, what is a snow squall warning? Well, it's issued when heavy snowfall and usually the combination of that and high winds can cause whiteout conditions. Immediately as these move through, road conditions get very poor and the lack of visibility can make for very hazardous travel conditions. We really encourage during these times to avoid travel. It's that burst of heavier snowfall that can be accompanied by gusty wind, usually. But today's actually didn't include a lot of wind with it. It was just how hard the snow was falling that was causing some trouble, especially during those morning commute hours in central Iowa. And we also often see a flash freeze with this. More often than not, these are associated with a cold front moving through the area here in eastern Iowa, and so sometimes they can have sharp temperature drops, and we can see those numbers drop quickly and road conditions get poor. We really do encourage when a snow squall warning is issued to treat it like a severe weather situation. Don't go out for that period of time. They move by pretty quickly, and so you will have your opportunity to hit the road not long after that is issued. Now, in terms of snowfall reports around the area from today's system, 3.5 inches in Amana, Marengo at 3.2, and Ely and Marshalltown checking in with 3. Those were the big overperformers today around eastern Iowa. A band of snow set up between about Marshalltown over to Ely and give or take about 5 or 10 miles on either side in terms of where that heavier snowfall took place. Iowa City and Fairfax, Williamsburg just clearing 2 inches. Many other communities saw a little bit less, including Loudon, Riverside, and Washington right on that 2-inch line. Stanwood at 1.9. Cedar Rapids, this was my measurement, just outside the TV9 studios, 1.5 inches. Same in North English, and Sigourney checking in with 1. Plenty of snow out there to shovel, plenty of snow to hit those sliding hills as well.
Now, your first alert forecast with meteorologist AJ Rickman.
And if you are going to be doing shoveling, sledding, walking around tonight, make sure that you are being aware of slippery roadways and slippery sidewalks as well. Even though the snow has ended, impacts from the snow are going to be sticking around as we go through tonight. Slick roads do continue, especially around bridges, overpasses, and roads that were not treated earlier today. So make sure that you are continuing to drive very carefully as we go through the night. We are also watching for wind that will be picking up as we get into your day on Friday. It's not going to be extremely windy, but we could see gusts approaching or exceeding 20 miles an hour at times, especially as we get into your afternoon hours. With the cold air that we are going to be feeling, could make for a little bit of a blustery day out there. Cedar Rapids is one of those places that got a good amount of snow today. You can see a little bit of the snow there in the medians along the sides of the road. Traffic is moving along nicely, however. 18 degrees in Cedar Rapids, mid-20s elsewhere across eastern Iowa, and those northwesterly winds are light, but they are there, and they're going to keep things relatively cool for the next couple of days. That system that brought the snow to us has moved off to the east, and it will continue to move out of our area. Behind it, we are seeing clearing skies moving in, and we'll continue to see those mostly clear skies through the night tonight as temperatures turn off and become rather cold. 9 degrees is your low in Charles City and Waterloo, 10 degrees in Fayette and Decorah. Iowa City is sitting at 12 as well as Washington. Farther south, we're a little bit milder, 15 in Oskaloosa and Mount Pleasant. Tomorrow, we're going to keep things cold once again. Mostly sunny, however, which will help to melt some of the snow off of those roadways and sidewalks. Grassy surfaces are going to be hanging onto that snow cover for a couple of days, however. 15 is your high in Charles City. Waterloo is sitting at 20, 22 in Iowa City, 20 in Oskaloosa and over in Washington as well. Like I mentioned, skies clear out pretty quickly, and they're going to remain mostly clear as we go through the night tonight and stay mostly clear as we go through your day on Friday as well. By the time we get to Friday afternoon, those northwesterly winds are continuing, a little bit blustery at times, as I mentioned, and then as we get into Friday night, once again, we are looking at mostly clear skies. That's going to allow our temperatures to fall once again. The other thing that's going to help those temperatures fall is persistent northerly winds. Northwesterly on Friday and Saturday, northeasterly Sunday, but you'll notice generally out of the north for the next several days, and that's going to be keeping things rather cold, which means if we get any precipitation, it does fall as snow, and we're going to be watching for our next round of precipitation that arrives as we get into Saturday night into early Sunday morning. By 1 a.m. Sunday, we are starting to see a storm system working across the southern plains into parts of the Midwest. And that does mean that some of our southern areas could see snow. At this point, the farther south you are, the better chance you do have at seeing any snow and any accumulations from it. The heaviest of the snow looks like it'll be in our extreme southern areas and south of that even. That system does continue to move through, and then by the time we get to Sunday night, snow is starting to taper off in areas that are seeing it. And then by Monday morning, we are drying out once again, keeping things cold. And like I mentioned, the best potential for this accumulating snow is going to generally be south of Highway 30, south of Highway 80 even, Interstate 80 even. The farther south you get there into far southern Iowa and then northern Missouri, that's going to be where they're seeing the brunt of the impact from this system. One thing that everybody across the Midwest is going to be dealing with, however, is a continuation of cold temperatures. You can see the last 2 weeks we've enjoyed some fairly mild air, but things are going to be changing. As we go over the next 10 days, we're looking at below normal temperatures, so places that have snow on the ground now are going to be hanging on to that snow. Places that get snow from that system that moves to our south this weekend are going to be hanging on to that snow as well. Corey will be back in just a little bit with your next 9 to show you exactly what that means in terms of your high and low temperatures in the coming days.
And plenty chilly weather for those that like colder temperatures. Now, we know that you're not from around here. Right. Not trying to be exclusionary by any means, but you come from Georgia. You're not necessarily used to prolonged periods of cold. It usually comes in little bursts, right?
Right. We're used to getting maybe 2 or 3 nights of, lows in the teens, highs in the 30s,
Lows
and then
in the teens.
lows in the teens.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of our high temperatures, more of what I'm used to for seeing low temperatures in Georgia. Now, here, luckily, the body tends to adapt pretty quickly, so the first couple months are rough, but I've adjusted pretty well. So.
I say, yeah, you attended college at Iowa State, proud of it, and experienced winter there already. So you're not going to be shocked, but it will be, I think for all of us after a pretty warm December, a big change.
Very much so, yeah.
Indeed, and it obviously has an impact in terms of what you can expect as we head into the spring. All the stuff that happens now does affect farmers and planters around eastern Iowa. Justin Roberts has today's Grower's Guide.
Well, we begin with the first Grower's Guide of 20 and 25. Yes, the weather is colder. Yes, we've got snow. There's not a lot of plants growing. However, we can still take a look at some of those factors that come together that provide us some context as we get to the growing season. We'll take a look at the drought map coming up, and let's take a walk and look at some of the graphics. We begin with our January weather summary. Our average high this time of year, about 26.9 degrees. So far in the first 2 days, we're 1 degree off the mark. Our average low, 15.1, 3 degrees above normal. We'll correct that record as we get to some colder weather towards the end of the week and weekend here. Snowfall is certainly a snowy month for us in January. In fact, we break it out like this. Average monthly snowfall around Cedar Rapids, 8.6 inches of snow. Now, yes, we're adding to the coffers today with another chance Sunday into Monday, but really, it looks like, you've got a ways to go with a lot of January yet to come. Our averages, notice the temperatures kind of bottom out in the upper 20s with our average low around 13, and there you see some of those numbers. Our final graphic, this is the one where we talked about what provides as we look to the growing season for 2025. Drought Monitor last week featured still some dry conditions. There you see from Decorah, Fayette, Waterloo, Manchester, down to Cedar Rapids, moderate drought conditions. Prairie du Chien was out of the drought conditions. That was last week. Here's the new data now. We've reintroduced dry conditions back towards north and east Iowa, towards southern Wisconsin, parts of Illinois as well. And you will also notice some of that moderate condition there was replaced with dry, taking kind of a backward step. So we are slowly building moisture back into the forecast and back into the ground as well. Certainly with more moisture on the way in the form of snow the next few days, and little by little we'll continue to add to those numbers. As always, you can find full details on the long term and even the short term at our website at kcrg.com. We'll send it back to you.
Thanks, Justin. And we are facing those colder temperatures in the coming days, which often come with the month of January. We've already seen this decline tonight a little bit, and over the next couple of days, it's going to be driven by that wind we're going to feel tomorrow, blustery during the afternoon. So that high of 21 degrees, probably feeling more like the upper single digits, low teens during the afternoon. That's despite a little bit of sunshine helping things out. Saturday, less windy, but then Sunday through early next week, as even colder air starts to work in, we're going to see those winds pick up a little bit again. As AJ described, that chance of snow on Sunday mainly confined to our southern counties, 21 degrees for a high again. So any snow that does fall will be on the fluffier side. Pretty efficient snowfall production there. Temperatures stay fairly steady for the start of the week on Monday and Tuesday, but it's really Wednesday when we start to feel that bigger drop, and that temperature trend keeps us below normal for a handful of days. It does show a little bit of a sign perhaps of some moderation toward the very tail end. That's just beyond the scope of our 9-day forecast. The first hint you get of it here is that high of 22 next Saturday, which will only be slight bit of relief after that chilly stretch. Now, it's not the coldest we've seen. We're not setting records. If you compare it to the cold weather that we saw at times in January last year, it is not going to compare to that really in terms of its severity. But it's also early. We have plenty more of January to go, and of course we know February, even a few days in early March, can be quite chilly.
Absolutely. And for those who are in the northern part of our viewing area right now, who missed out on the snow today, probably going to miss out on it this weekend, who are upset about it, who want the snow, for those of you who might like the snow, we got the whole winter ahead. I'm sure as we go through January and February, there will be other storms, plenty of chances to come.
We do. Some of those spots got a little bit before Christmas too, so we're kind of balancing out, I guess, now.
I would say so.
Yeah, a little more details on that storm system this weekend. Again, we'll join you and give you the latest tomorrow night, same time, same place. Thanks for joining us tonight. Have a good night.